All right, hi, welcome to day 3. Today we've moved on to India. I need to give you a little bit of background information before you get going in your notes. So let's just jump right on into it, okay? All right, so um, Britain had become interested in India for quite some time. They first became interested for economic reasons in the 1600s. And during that time, the British East India Company set up various trading posts in Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. Okay, now the Mughal Empire had been very successful with holding any sort of British invasion off. But by 1707, the Mughal Empire was coming to an end. You need to know that there are two groups of people that live in India. There are Muslims and there are Hindus. India is predominantly a Hindu country. You should remember that from Unit 1. However, there's still a Muslim population there, and there's going to be some dispute over land, over how things should be done, that sort of thing. Okay. They have different views, they have different opinions, so issues are going to arise. The Mughal Empire had begun to decline when fighting between the Hindus and the Muslims broke out. But the Mughal Empire also had experienced a golden age too, and it was during the golden age, okay, I think I'm going to show you the, let's see, yep, here's our British East India Company. That was their logo, okay? They were the ones that set up the trading post throughout India. All right, so it's during this golden age when the Taj Mahal was built, okay? The Taj Mahal was a shrine. It was commissioned in 1632 by Shah Jahan. And it was built for his favorite wife, okay? It was built to be, it was meant to be a tomb or a shrine for her. It's an amazing building, especially when you consider the fact that they did not have modern construction technology to build such a beautiful building like we do now back in the 1600s. It took 22 years to build, and over 20,000 workers helped to build this shrine. So just to give you an idea of what else is going on in the world at this point in time, the collapse of the Mughal Empire, it also occurred at the same time as the 7 Years' War, when that broke out between the French and the British. Both countries were attempting to control India at that time, but France ended up losing, and as a result, of course, the British ended up taking control. So this is when our British East India Company was created, okay? So just to give you kind of an idea of what all is going on all at the same time. Britain was able to rule India through economic imperialism, and in 1813, the British government took away some of the British East India Company's power. Despite that, the British East India Company, they still controlled a major part of Indian life. Now, India was given a nickname, Britain's jewel in the crown, okay? And it was given this nickname because India had so many natural resources that they wanted these natural resources in order to make finished products, finished goods. India had vast wealth, and Britain wanted to be wealthy. And India was actually the main source of Britain's wealth at this point in time. It was by far the most valuable of all of Britain's colonies, with all of its resources that it had. So with British control came many restrictions upon Indians as well. Okay. Now, without a doubt, Britain's claim on India certainly had an economic impact. Okay. Here's the deal. In order for the British East India Company to be successful, India was not allowed, they could not import any sort of finished good from another country. They also could not make their own finished products, okay? India was only allowed to produce raw materials that Great Britain could use to create finished products and goods and then sell back to India. So even though India was growing all of the things that, like, for example, like cotton was used in clothing. Even though Indians were growing the cotton and then they had to send it off to Britain, Britain would make the clothes and then the Indians had to buy it back from the British. So it was just a really messed up situation there. So with this restriction in place, Indians were forced to buy goods from Great Britain. Britain also restricted India's ability to farm for food. So India is now only able to produce cash crops like cotton, tea, indigo, coffee, and opium. These are the things that the British were wanting them to create, or not create, but to grow so that then they could turn a profit, the British could turn a profit on it. So what ends up happening at this point in time, because India can no longer provide food for themselves, they end up going into they experience a great famine. Okay. All right. That is everything that you need to know for India. We have an activity that we are going to do in class, next class, about India, and I will see you then.